Python Class 1, Introduction to Python Programming Language. Say in this chapter, I planned 6 topics. First one, what is Python? Next, key features of Python language. Next, implementations of Python. Next, applications of Python. Next, Python environment setup, theoretical steps. Next, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will download and install Python, practical. Next, drawbacks of Python language. Drawbacks of Python language. These 6 topics. First topic, what is Python? Observe. Python is a programming language. See, why I am saying Python is a programming language. For example, MS Office, it is a documentation package. Selenium, it is a test tool. Python is a programming language. So the primary purpose of, you no need to write any notes. After the class, I will send recorded session as well as class notes, and you can practice. So just listen, try to ask questions and answer my questions. Okay. Python is a programming language. So the primary purpose of Python is software development. Why I am saying this one, primary purpose of Python. See, for this programming language, secondary purposes also there. For Java also, secondary purposes also there. For example, Python is used for test automation with Selenium. Java also used. Say you can use Python with Selenium for functional testing. Next, Python with FPM for mobile testing. Those are secondary purposes. Primary purpose is software development. Okay. Next, Python was created by Guido van Rossum in 1989, but publicly released in 1991. See, as of now, 30 years old. 1991, now 2021, 30 years old. And one more thing, it is senior than Java programming language. Why? Java has 26 years age, released in 1995, but our Python released in 1991. And one more thing, this year and previous year, I think from last 4 or 5 years, if you observe the statistics, top 10 programming languages, this Python and Java always in top 3 or 4, top 3. Python is top 3 language, sometimes top 1, sometimes top 2 like. Okay. Next, it is further, see first, who created Python language? Created by Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, Netherlands technician, means programmer. Guido van Rossum in 1989, but publicly released in 1991. Next, it is further developed by the Python Software Foundation. Further, now, who is the who are developing, who are updating the software? PSF. PSF stands for
Foundation.
Python Software Foundation. See, it is further developed by the Python Software Foundation. The Python official website is, any idea? Python official website.
Python software, listen, sir.
Python official website. What is the Python official website? See, Python is open source, but it has a forum called Python Software Foundation. We have to download Python software from that website, and you can get documentation also from that site. Then tell me, what is the official website for Python? For example, official website for Java. Java vendor vendor is that industry term. In our software industry, we use developer. Who is the developer of Java language? Current developer, Oracle. Previous developer, Sun Microsystems. Current takeover by Oracle Corporation in 2010. From oracle.com website, you can download Java software and you can get Java documentation from that site only. Next, in the same way, we have an official website for Python language, that is Python
Software Foundation.
Python Software Foundation is a forum for developing that one. See, first created by Gaidovan Rossum in 1989, he is a single person. Now it is developed by it is further developed by Python Software Foundation, PSF. For this PSF, that Gaidovan Rossum is the team leader. Okay. Under Gaidovan Rossum only it is working. Python official website is python.org. Okay. Python.org is the official website. From that site only we need to download Python software. Okay. See, first one. Okay. Python is a programming language developed by Gaidovan Rossum. Next, further developed by Python Software Foundation. Next, released in 1991. 30 years old as of now. Senior than Java, senior than VBScript, senior than JavaScript. Okay. Next, Python. Observe this point. This is history point. Python is not named after the snake Python. We have snake Python, but no relation with that snake. Python is not named after the snake Python. The father of Python, who is father of Python? Gaidovan Rossum. The father of Python, Gaidovan Rossum, said the name of the language was taken from the British comedy series, TV show. British comedy series, Monty Python's Flying Circus. He was the fan of that comedy series, British comedy series, TV series, Monty Python's Flying Circus. Okay. Next, observe this point. Python is a general purpose, high level, interpreted, interactive, object oriented, open source programming language. I'll explain one by one. See, Python is a general purpose language. General purpose language. What is the meaning of this one? See, Python is not for a specific purpose. Python is not for specific purpose. General purpose. See, nowadays Python is for machine learning. Python is for web server-side programming. Python for big data. Python for scientific programming. Python for mathematical programming, etc. Python is a general purpose language. Java also general purpose. For example, HTML, you know HTML, hypertext markup language. That is domain specific language. Domain specific. What is the purpose of HTML? HTML for web page design. Web page design, domain specific. XML, extensible markup language, domain specific. It is for it is for data transporting in the web. Next, UML, domain specific. For example, SQL, structured query language, domain specific. What is that one? Database. It is SQL for database management. Database, relational database management. But our Python is not a domain specific language. General purpose language means it is not for a specific purpose. General purpose. Next, Python is a high level language. High level. It is not low level language or assembler language. It is a high level language, Savitri.
Okay.
Suppose C is high level, C++ high level, Java high level. Nowadays, most of the languages are programming languages are high level. C Sharp, VB Script, Perl, Python, Ruby, Rex, all are high level languages. Our Python also high level language. High level language. What is high level language? Do you have any idea, Savitri? What is high level language? Why you are calling? We are calling high level language?
What I know is it's simply like our English language.
Yes, good, good. See, we write English like sentence.
Yes.
Suppose if, for, do, while, print, input, etc. See,
Yes.
we use English terms for writing programs in high-level languages. Computer can't understand English language. Computer can understand only binary language, ones and zeros. If you want to write your programs in binary language, it takes a lot of time. So that is difficult to process. If it is high-level language like English, you can easily write the programs by following that programming language syntax, no problem. Next, compiler or interpreters convert the high-level language into mission-level equivalent. Okay, it is high-level language, means we write English language like code.
Okay.
Next, Python is object-oriented programming language. Python is object-oriented programming. See, nowadays, most of the languages are object-oriented. Suppose first one, C language, structured programming language, or you can say procedural language. Perl is structured programming language. C++ object-oriented. Java object-oriented. Python object-oriented. Next, C Sharp object-oriented. Ruby object-oriented. Nowadays, object-oriented languages are popular. See, it is an object-oriented programming language, and it is also supports functional programming. Observe this point. Say Python, suppose take C language, structured programming language. It supports functions for code reusability. Suppose Java is object-oriented programming language. It supports methods for code reusability. Methods. But in C language, you can't find objects and methods. But in same way, in Java language, you can't find functions. But in our Python, you can find both objects, methods. Those are object-oriented concepts. Next, functions also. But why we are saying Python is an object-oriented programming language? See, even though our Python supports functional programming, object-oriented programming concepts are dominating in Python. That's why Python basically an object-oriented programming language. See, in Python, we can easily create and use classes and objects. Next, Python is open source. Python is open source. See, already we discussed. Python is developed under OSI approved open source license, making it freely usable and distributable even for commercial use. Python license is administered by the PSF, Python Software Foundation. Okay, these are the. This is about what is Python. What is Python? Next, come to second point. Second point. Key features of Python language. Key features. First one, free and open source. Free and open source. What is the meaning of this one? Free software, okay. Free means you can download and use that software.
Yes.
Open source, which one is superior? Free or open source? Try to guess. Open source is superior. Why?
Yes.
Open source means source code also available on the net. You can download and use that code with free of cost. If you have programming knowledge, you can modify the code. Suppose you downloaded one software, open source software, it has 20 features. You added 2 more features, and you can use 22 features. You can distribute the software, but selling that modified code is not allowed. Why? Python is not yours. See, Python has a license, but free. You can download and use Python. You can download and modify the code and use. You can download and modify the code and distribute that modified the code with your friends or other companies, but free of cost. Selling modified code is not allowed. Why? You are not the author of Python.
PSF is the authorized.
Next, free and open source means it is free to use. Source code available on net. Anybody can download with free of cost. You can use the code as it is or modify the code and distribute the code, no problem. Next, object-oriented. Python supports object-oriented language and concepts of class and objects that come into existence. Next, third one is important one. Easy to learn and use. Easy to learn. Say, 15 years back, 10 to 15 years back, the slogan was, first learn C language, then you can cope up with any other technology in the IT industry. But current slogan is, first learn Python, then you can learn any other technology easily. Why? It is easy and flexible. See, it is a learner's language. Easy to learn and use. Python is easy to learn and use. It is developers friendly and high level programming language. Next, cross-platform language. Cross-platform. See, Python can run equally on different platforms such as Windows, Linux, and Macintosh, etc. So we can say that Python is portable language. Next, interpreted. It is not compiler-based language like Java, C++. They are formal languages. Compiler-based languages. This is interpreted. Integrated. Okay. Interpreter means interpreter also. What is interpreter? It is interpreter language. Means we no need to compile Python separately, run the program and execute. While execution, it will automatically compile and run. Lightweight language. VB script, lightweight. JavaScript, lightweight. Python, lightweight. Ruby, lightweight. Java, formal language. Next, C, formal. C++, formal. C#, formal. Now we are discussing integrated. What is interpreter? You know what is interpreter? We no need to compile the Python.
Yes.
Just write a Python program and run it. While running the program, it will automatically compile and run. In case of programming language, formal programming languages like C, C++, Java, we have 3 steps. 3 steps. What are the 3 steps? First one, write a program in an editor. Second one, compile the program. Third one, run the program. Run or execute, synonyms in this scenario. Run the program. But in case of scripting languages, only 2 steps. Write a program and run the program. Okay, that is different. Interpreter language. Next, integrated. What is integrated? See, Python can be easily integrated with other languages like C, C++, Java, .NET, etc.
Okay.
We have other implementations also. Say we can merge C with Python, Java with Python. Next, what is that one? .NET with Python. Okay. Say it can be easily integrated with languages like C, C++, Java, next .NET, etc. See, next, observe this third point. implementations of Python. Already we discussed now. Python can integrate with other languages.
Yes, C plus Java.
Here, what are the implementations? Implementations. What are the implementations? For example, CPython is there. CPython. It is one flavor. It is one flavor. CPython. You no need to learn CPython, just to observe, know what is what. CPython, the default implementation of the Python programming language is CPython. As the name suggests, CPython is written in C language. Means if you want to work with CPython merge, you can use CPython. Next, note I will send. IronPython. IronPython. Single word. IronPython. Python running on .NET. Python running on .NET. Next, Python. See, we no need to focus on these things. Just knowledge. Python. Python running on Java Virtual Machine. Python running on Java Virtual Machine. Next, PyPy. A fast Python implementation with a JIT compiler. Next, MicroPython. MicroPython. Python running on microcontrollers. Next, latest one. Anaconda Python. Anaconda. Delta. Anaconda Python. What is Anaconda Python? Anaconda is a free and open source distribution of the Python and R programming languages for scientific computing. Observe, it is Python plus R. R programming language is there. Python plus R for scientific computing.
Okay.
It is for scientific computing. It's for scientific computing. Okay. Next, see, these are the important implementations of Python. Can you tell me, Savitri, what are the important implementations of Python language? Just tell me the headlines.
IronPython, Jython, and R plus Python.
MicroPython. Next, Anaconda Python.
R plus
Anaconda Python is it is a free and open source distribution of the Python and R programming languages for scientific application, scientific computing. Next, what we planned, fourth one, applications of Python language. Okay. Fourth one, applications of Python language. Or you can say purposes of Python program. These applications of Python is technical term. Or you can say purposes of Python programming. Or uses of Python. Uses. See, a public term or mass term. Uses of Python. Can you tell me, okay, Python for software development. Can you tell me detailed description in your point of view? What is the Python usage? Suppose Python is used for Python is used for develop. Python is used to develop Observe first one. Here no sequence. Desktop GUIs. Desktop GUIs. Graphical user interfaces. Next, web and internet development. Web and internet development. See, web and internet development. Web, okay. Say in web, client side programming and server side programming is there. Client side programming, suppose in HTML. In HTML, no control flow statements in HTML. HTML is tag based language.
Yes.
No control flow statements means no if, no conditions, no loops, etc. If you want to apply the logic, we insert script components into HTML, JavaScript components, etc. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Say this Python is used for server side programming, not client side programming. The client side programming, server side programming. It is for server side programming. Say no programmers or no web developers are using Python for client side programming. Why? It is insecure. It is not securable programming language. Next, okay, web, okay. In the website, Python is used for web application server side programming. What about internet development? See, nowadays, popular technology is there. IoT. It is used for IoT. What is IoT? Internet applications. What is IoT? Do you have any idea?
Sir.
Internet of Things. Okay. Getting? Nowadays, combining electronic and mechanical gadgets with software system. See, you can operate your AC, your TV, your washing machine using your mobile.
Yes.
Software. That is Internet of Things, IoT. Getting this point?
Yes, sir. Now I am.
Say nowadays you can operate your television, air conditioner, fridge, next washing machine, etc. devices using IoT applications. Using your mobile, you can operate. Okay. IoT, trending technology. Next, games and 3D graphics. Games and 3D graphics. But here one small thing. Python is weak in game software development. Sorry, Python is weak. Which one is strong in game software? Suppose Java is strong in game software, but Python is weak. Next, where Python is strong, scientific programming. See, scientific and numeric applications. Scientific and numeric applications. Next, machine learning. Nowadays, machine learning also popular technology. ML, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. AI and ML. Actually, sequence is this is the sequence. Artificial intelligence and machine learning.
learning. Okay.
Why? In these two, AI is superior. See, short form, AI and ML.
ML.
AI and ML. See, what is the difference between AI, artificial? What is the relation between artificial intelligence and machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of AI. Machine learning is a subset of AI, but popular subset. Nowadays, independent topic, but it is basically it is subset of AI, artificial intelligence. Next, one more important area, data science. It is used for big data applications. Data science and data visualization. Data science and data visualization. Next, enterprise applications. The enterprise applications. What are the enterprise applications? For example, e-commerce, ERP, banking, insurance, etc. But it is a lightweight language, limited use.
Okay.
Next, network programming. Network programming. Next, no sequence. Embedded application. Embedded systems. What is embedded systems? The inserting software component into devices. For example, telephone coin box. That is electronic device.
Okay.
It will operated by. It is operated by chip programming. Suppose after 60 seconds, cut the call. Suppose user drops a coin, provide 60 more seconds call like program. Suppose lift, mechanical device. For lift also embedded system required. Embedded system means inserting software components into devices, electronic devices or mechanical devices.
Yes.
Best example, banking, ATM software is there now.
Yes, sir.
ATM software is embedded system now. It operates ATM machine.
Yes, sir.
So embedded systems, it is used for embedded systems. Java is strong in embedded programming.
Yes, sir.
Next, audio or video applications. Audio, just a minute. Audio and video applications. Next, education applications. Education. Next, CAD. You know, do you hear this CAD?
Which?
CAD applications.
Yeah, CAD application.
CAD means computer aided designing. Computer aided designing. Next, software testing. Software testing. Automated testing. In this area, automated testing. Automated testing. See, we can use Python with etc. We can use Python with Selenium for functional test automation. Python with RTM for mobile test automation, etc. These are the applications of Python, or you can say uses of Python. Uses of Python. Can you tell me, Savitri, before moving to next topic, can you tell me what are the important applications of Python language or purposes of Python, or you can say uses of Python? Just tell me headlines like no sequence, sequence not required.
Okay. Scientific and numerical we can use.
Yes,
And
scientific and numerical, numeric applications. Yes.
Yes. Artificial intelligence and machine learning.
AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next, data science. Data science for big data applications. Next, important one, IoT applications. IoT, Internet of Things. Web and web application, server side programming, IoT programming. Next, games and 3D graphics. Audio and video applications, education applications, software testing, embedded applications or embedded systems, network programming, etc. Okay, now?
Okay.
Next, Python environment setup. Just I will explain theoretical steps. Next, we will discuss how to install in practical chapter. Python environment setup. Okay. Python environment is required to write and execute or run synonyms. Execute or run. In this scenario, these are synonyms. Python environment is required to write and execute Python programs. Here, observe the steps.
Okay.
Observe the steps. Download and install Python software. For example, observe on Windows. Are you using Windows operating system or any other operating system?
Yes, sir.
Suppose on Windows, if you want to write and execute VB script programs, no environment setup is required. VB script is built-in. VB script engine built-in with Microsoft Windows. Suppose, take just a minute. Notepad like editor. I am writing one simple one. MSG box. Python is VB script is not case sensitive. VB script is not case sensitive. There is no difference between uppercase and lowercase. Suppose just hello VB script. Hello VB script. VB script from Microsoft, Windows Microsoft. So it is built in. Just a minute. Save as, actually it is text file, extension is txt. Save as VBS. For example, my program name sample.extension VBS. I'm saving on this desktop. Okay. Save, close. Observe left side. This file created now. You can execute this one. No need to compile. Just it is also lightweight language. Run. Observe, it is showing output now.
Yes, sir.
So you no need to install anything.
Okay.
But for our
Python, we need to.
Python installation required. First step, download Python software. Download Python software from what is the Python official website? Download from python.org. There only you can get that Python software. They update regularly. See, from python.org is the first step. The download also, downloading that software is very simple. Within 1 or 2 minutes, you can download that software executable file. Download Python software. Here, one important point. We already discussed. Python is a cross-platform language. It supports Microsoft Windows, Linux, Macintosh, etc. operating environments.
Yes,
Here, download your operating system compatible Python software from Python official website python.org. Getting this point? Download your operating system compatible Python software. Java also same. Download your operating system compatible Python software. Sorry, Java software. Java software. Suppose mine is Windows 10 64-bit, 10 or 7. That version doesn't matter. Just a minute. What is that site? See.
Python.org.
Python.org. What is it? Oh, spell mistake. See, this is Python official website.
Okay.
Observe here. Downloads, Windows, Macintosh, other platforms.
Yes, sir.
Here we have to download our operating system compatible software. The latest one. Suppose downloads for Windows. Latest one Python 3.10.0. Okay. From this website we need to download. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow I will show that one. Okay, download that one. Next, second step, install the Python software. Install the Python software. Installation process also very simple. You can get an executable file after download. By clicking on that file, you can install easily. Next, after installation, you can get Python shell. That is IDLE. What is IDLE? I will explain. Suppose if you want to set up Java environment, first download Java software. For example, download your operating system compatible Java software and install. After installation, you can't get the editor for writing programs. No built-in editor with Java installation. For that, you need to download and install Eclipse IDE. Do you hear this one, Eclipse IDE?
Yes, sir.
Eclipse IDE like platforms available. Your IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Eclipse IDE like Eclipse IDE also open source. Download and install Eclipse IDE. Then using Eclipse IDE, you can write and execute Java programs. But for our Python, IDLE is there. Another name for this IDLE is shell, Python shell. Python shell or just a minute. After installation, you can get Python shell or you can say
IDLE.
Python IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. Integrated Development and Learning Environment. Eclipse IDE, Integrated Development Environment. That's it. Integrated Development Environment. It is Integrated Development and Learning Environment. IDLE. Say for learning, it is enough. For learning, it is enough. For real time, suppose if you want to develop applications using Python software, for that you have to use IDE, commercial or open source available. You need to use IDEs. Suppose PyCharm. PyCharm IDE is there. PyCharm IDE is there. In PyCharm, Python is default. you download and install. It is also open source. Open source edition is there. Next, enterprise edition also there. You can download free edition. After installation, you can you can create and execute Python programs. For learning, PyCharm ID is not required. PyCharm ID is not required. Python shell or Python IDLE is enough. For real time ID required. For learning, ID is difficult. Then what is the advantage of PyCharm ID? PyCharm or you can say PyCharm, or you can use Eclipse NetBeans. Eclipse ID was created for Java programming. If you want to write and execute Java, then you can directly use Eclipse IDE. Nowadays, basically, Eclipse IDE was created for writing and executing Java programs. But nowadays, separate plugins available for supporting other programming languages. Now, using Eclipse IDE, you can write C, C++, PHP, Ruby, Perl, Java, Python, etc. programs. For Java, no add-in required, no add-on required, directly use. For Python, like other programming languages, use plugins. For example, if you want to use Eclipse IDE for Python, use PyDev plugin. Free. Install PyDev plugin. Install PyDev. Suppose PyCharm, no plugin required. Python especially created for or developed for Python. So, but using this PyCharm IDE is difficult than Python IDE. So, learning point of view is Python IDE. Why difficult? Say, suppose if it is difficult, then why people are using this IDE? See, even though it is difficult, so many advantages are there. See, using IDE, we can integrate Python with other software. In Python shell, we can't integrate Python with other software. You can write and execute Python programs, that's it. But if it is PyCharm like IDE, you can integrate Python language with other technologies. Suppose Eclipse IDE, suppose in our basically I am a Selenium test lead and Selenium trainer, we are using Eclipse IDE to integrate Selenium with Java, Maven, TestNG, next Jenkins, etc. So using PyCharm like IDEs, we can integrate Python software with other technologies. But Python ideally only for learning. Okay, now?
Okay, sir.
See, install Python software and start writing programs using Python IDE. Suppose if you want to real time development, use
PyCharm IDE.
PyCharm IDE or NetBeans, but PyCharm is flexible. For Java, Eclipse IDE flexible. See, this is about Python environment. Okay. Next, one small topic is there. End of the class. Drawbacks of Python language. Drawbacks of Python language. Say, Python has a slow speed of execution. It is slower than C++ and Java because it works with an interpreter, not the compiler. See, observe. We already discussed Python is an, see, observe, Python slower in execution. Slower in execution. Why? Slower in execution when it compares to C++, Java, etc. languages. Why? They are compiler-based languages. First we compile the program, then execute. Execution multiple times. If you want to execute 10 times, 20 times, after 1 year, after 2 years, you can execute. Suppose if you edit that program, if you update that program, then recompile and run the program n number of times.
Okay.
But Python, we already discussed, is an interpreter language. Here, no compilation. Write a program and run the program. While running the program, it automatically compiles and runs. So every time, for every execution, every iteration means cycle of execution. For every iteration, compile and run. So it takes time now. Hello?
Yes, sir.
It takes time. If it is Java or C++, once you compile, you can run that compiled code n number of times quickly. This is one drawback. What is the first drawback? Slower in execution. Slower in execution when it compares to C, C++, Java, etc. languages. Since it is interpreter-based language, slower in execution. Next, we already discussed. Python is weak. The Python language is seen as less suitable for mobile development and game development. Observe this one. See, for example, Java strong in mobile development. Android developed in Java technology. So Android-based applications, you can use Java. Java is strong in mobile application development, but our Python is weak in mobile application development.
Okay.
Mobile development, and game development. Mobile development and game development. See, Python is weak. Python is weak in mobile development, mobile software development, or you can say mobile application development. Next, game development means game software development. Next, Python has high memory consumption and it is not used in web browsers because it is not secure. See, for web browsers in HTML, most of the time web designers embedded that JavaScript code components.
Okay.
Why? That is lightweight and Python also lightweight, securable. But our Python has high memory consumption and not used for web browsers because it is not secure. Okay, not secure. That is one point. Notes I will send. Next point. Python database access layer is weak and underdeveloped. See, Python is weak in database connectivity. Database, it can connect, but weak. Still developing going on. Python is weak in database connectivity when it compares to JDBC, ODBC technologies. The JDBC technology is there. What is JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Java Database Connectivity. Next, ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. Python is weak. Next, Python is dynamically typed language so that the data type of variables can change anytime. Here observe, Python Python doesn't support explicit declaration of data types. VBScript also doesn't support explicit declaration of data types. Java supports the explicit declaration of data types. C++ supports the explicit declaration of data types. But our Python doesn't support explicit declaration of data types. What is explicit declaration of data types? We need to specify the data type before declaring a variable. For example, observe, in Java, if you want to declare variable, first data type, int, suppose num. Suppose int num equals to 100. Int is data type, num is variable name. Int is keyword, num is identifier. Suppose character type. Suppose x equals to single character. Suppose single characters in single quote. Suppose if you want to store string type data, string is not primitive data type, string is object. Suppose string my country equals to suppose India, semicolon. Here data type specification is there. Suppose in this num variable, you can't enter other type of data. Suppose after some statements at the end of the program, if you want to assign 200, it is valid syntax. Variable values may vary throughout the program. Suppose after some time, if you try to enter other type of data, num equals to suppose 10.345, it is incorrect. It is incorrect. Invalid. It will show syntax error. Why? Num is integer type variable. Num is integer type variable. It can't store other than integer. Okay, but this is explicit declaration. We need to declare data types explicitly in formal languages like C, C++, Java, C#, etc. But in lightweight languages like VBScript, JavaScript, Python, etc., no explicit declaration of data types. It is a drawback, but some drawbacks are advantages for learners. Why? Suppose in Java, if you want to write a print statement, minimum, suppose I want to write a print statement in Java. For that minimum 4 or 5 statements, formalities. We need to declare class. Next, we need to declare main method. Next, you need to write that statement. But in Python, no formalities. No formalities. Just write a print of within double quotes Savitri, it will print. So lightweight languages, easy. See, less code is enough for developing anything. Advantage also there. But Python doesn't support the explicit declaration of variables. That is drawback in this scenario. Why drawback? Suppose x equals to 100. No semicolon like syntax. In Python 3. Python 2 old version, semicolon syntax is there, but for latest versions, no semicolon. Suppose this is what type of variable it is. Suppose here num is suppose I am using same num. Just a minute. Java num is integer type. It can accept only integer data. Integer data. But Python num is what is the data type of this num? No explicit declaration of data types. No explicit declaration of data types. It can hold any type of data. Then how it considers data type? Based on the usage of data. Based on the usage of data. If you enter number, it will consider integer. Suppose if you enter number with decimal places, it will consider float. Suppose if you enter alphabets within double quotes, it will consider string type data. Suppose if you enter logical value, true or false, it will consider Boolean type data. Based on the usage of data, it will consider the data types internally. If you want to know the user, if user wants to know the data type using type function, you can get. But some problem is there. Suppose I declared num. After some time, if you want to use 200, okay, I am using no semicolon. I am using this num for storing another number. Suppose after some time, suppose if I use num equals to true, it can accept. Suppose after some time, if you use num equals to India, it can accept. Suppose after some time, num equals to not only after some time, after immediate statement also. Suppose if you use 10.234, then it accepts. It is floating point value. Say Python is dynamically typed language, so that data type of variable can change any time. Data type of a variable can change any time. No explicit declaration of data types. A variable containing an integer number may hold a string in the future, which can lead to runtime errors. We need to careful about variables in our program. See, these are the important drawbacks of our Python. Last question for the day, Savitri, tell me what are the drawbacks of Python language? Last question for the day. What are the drawbacks of Python? We discussed 5 drawbacks.
Yes, the data connection is less.
First, okay. Python has a slow speed of execution. It is slower than C++, Java like languages because it works with an interpreter, not the compiler. Next, continue. Python is slower in execution. Next.
Weak in mobile and
Python language is seen as less suitable for mobile development and game development. Next, Python has high memory consumption, and it is not used in web browsers because it is not secure. Next, Python's database layer is weak and underdeveloped in comparison to popular technologies like JDBC and ODBC. Python database layer is weak and underdeveloped. Okay.
Yes.
Next, last one.
Explicit declaration of variables is.
Not very. See, Python doesn't support explicit declaration of data types. A variable containing an integer number may hold a string in the future, which can lead to runtime errors. Okay, this is about introduction to Python. Any queries regarding this today's class? Today only theory. Any queries?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, just a minute. Rajesh, unmute.